Hello, my name is Rusenica. The P is silent, so that's where that comes from. Welcome to my channel where I talk anything casual or monumental in relation to life's events, life's TV shows, like the TV show we're going to be talking about today in a recap, which is Love is Blind UK, the first season ever. I'm so excited for this season. It's starting off really good. Different than the US version in very subtle ways, but overall, the Love is Blind franchise is so incredibly entertaining. And let's just be clear, it is just for entertainment. This whole process is not like a realistic one. I don't think that Love is Blind. I genuinely feel though there is a lot of merit in getting to know somebody and not really having too much attraction, like having a little bit of attraction growing with time. But the whole like Love is Blind concept is like a little ridiculous, but it's so good for TV. It's so good for TV. I'm gonna be reviewing episodes 1 through 4 because they just came out today. I love reviewing the show. I've reviewed all of the other Love is Blind seasons. Except for I've only done the US. I haven't done Brazil, Mexico. I think Japan has one. A couple of other, South Africa. Haven't got to those. Let's get into episodes 1 through 4. I talk about everything that stands out to me. If I miss something, please bring it up in the comments. Oh my god, because it's like guaranteed. Like the things that are going to stand out to me, the things I want to talk about, are going to be different than whatever the heck you found to be interesting. Also, please help me out if you're a Brit. Please help me out because there are some things culturally that I'm just not going to understand. As somebody who now lives in America but grew up in 2 other countries and not primarily in America, I feel as though it's important to hear from people who live in the area that you're talking about to actually give context and explanation. So I'm going to be asking some questions just because I'm confused as to what some things mean. Like when the host pointed to his wife and he said, "Yeah, obviously I'm punching." What is punch? What does that mean? Anyway, okay. Let's get into the first episode. So we get introduced to the host. I'm going to be looking over my notes, by the way. So if you occasionally see me going here, it's because I simply have to rely on something that is let me know my thoughts so I can repeat them back to you. Okay. So we get introduced to Matt and Emma Willis. Brits, please help me out. Who are they? Because they really just told us they were the hosts. And Nick and Vanessa Lachey, of course, we kind of know who they are because Nick Lachey was the most famous one, and then Vanessa is just kind of his wife, but then also has a career in her own right. And we know a little bit more about them in this show, The Ultimatum. But who are they? Because they're just incredibly beautiful people to me. I just see very sexy people that I'm like, oh my goodness, they are the target version of the Lachey's. They do the whole, what are you looking for? And it's always the typical, oh, dating is really hard and nobody wants anything real. Nobody wants anything real. Everybody judges me because I'm super sexy and I attract too many people. And it's just so hard being this sexy all the time. Where is the connection? That's always the thing. Okay. So then after they kind of have the little fake talk, they then go right into the pods, which is kind of jarring to be like, oh shoot, we're really just getting into it. Oh my god. We're really watching the show now. And I think the first person, at least the first person I wrote down was Freddie, which of course they had to start with Freddie because he's the most attractive man in the pods. Of course. But he has the most interesting job. Um he's a funeral director, and he's the most attractive funeral director you will ever see. You will never see a funeral director that looks like that. And I'm pretty sure he knows that. I'm pretty sure the minute that he told the girls, oh yeah, I'm a funeral director, he probably thought, or they probably thought he was weird looking, because that's what I would think. So then we also get introduced to Catherine, which I'm going to try not to spoil anything until I get to the episode that I'm going to be talking about. So I'm going to be splitting this up into episode 1, episode 2, 3, 4, whatever. I may let some things slip, but I'm assuming we've all watched 1 through 4, but I'm going to try to go and not spoil in case you haven't watched ahead. Okay, Catherine. Catherine, to me, immediately gave me such a good impression. She seems like the type of girl to get along with absolutely anyone. And I don't know if it's just because she's that type of attractive to where, oh, if you're sweet and open-minded and just kind and you look like that, everybody wants to be your friend. I'm pretty sure it's that way. Demi, we have a sporty girl. I she's like so incredibly beautiful to me. And I'm not being like, oh, because she's the plus size girl and like we have to really emphasize how attractive we. No, that girl is bad for real. Like she's really like a bad gal. I actually was feeling like a future sense of protection over her because I'm like, if people fumble the bag with you and you get a bad reveal, the internet will kill whoever is doing that for you because she just seems like just beautiful inside and out. And I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be pissed if somebody tries to be like in any way disrespectful. Anyway, I just feel protective. Anytime a guy, we get introduced into Ollie, by the way. Anytime a guy says, I typically only date with looks, like I'm very physically drawn to people, they're basically just saying, like, I'm superficial. I'm superficial and I want everybody to know that, but I'm going to say it in a way that's like very soft. Ollie to me struck me just as trouble. And I don't think that he's going to get out of my head as trouble just because he seems like the type of guy that just knows their power in terms of how attractive they are and that just plays with women. But also that's kind of unfair for me to judge him like that. It's only the first couple like seconds into the show and I'm like, like you look like a blip. But it's also like sometimes you just read people for who they are. Sometimes you do. Okay. We have Sabrina, the most beautiful. Oh my word. I saw Sabrina, I was like, girl, you would have ate 2014 Tumblr. You would have absolutely like. Anyway, and then we also have Steven. I want to like him, but I feel wary of him. I'm like, these are just the notes that I wrote down at the time that I was seeing the show. So I'll like update the things that I felt later. But see, I said I want to like him, but I feel wary of him. Oh, because anytime a man anytime a man has like a hobby that's kind of spiritually based, because they were bonding over that, like spiritual practices, spiritual disciplines, because Sabrina was talking about how she practices gratitude and he was like, oh, I agree, me too, I love gratitude is my jam. Anytime a guy does that, I'm always like, is it really? Is it? Because I believe it when what's his name, Benaya says, is it Benaya? Yeah, it just sounds so different coming out my mouth, I feel. I believe when Benaya says it because he has the granola look. Also, is granola a thing in the UK? Do you guys call people granola? Because Benaya and Sabrina look hella granola. But when Steven does it, I'm like, we'll see with time if you were like for real about like spiritual practices. Because sometimes I feel like people just be saying it just because it's like, oh yeah, no, me too. We're the same. We're like each other for sure. It's like, are you? Okay, then we have Sam. This note that I wrote down for him is actually making me so sad because obviously I'm going to talk about it later and not spoil anything, but I wrote down Sam. I said we love a transparent man who is transparent about cosmetic enhancements. But to my credit of my naivete, I also said it's either a red flag because he could be superficial, or it's a green flag because at least he can be transparent about things that are hard to admit. But I feel like also the two could go hand in hand because like sometimes people try to like manipulate you with vulnerability. But I feel like because he doesn't look like he has cosmetic surgery, maybe it's just like I don't know. It's like you didn't have to say that. You didn't, but I just gave him props. Anyway, we have Nicole. Nicole has been married before, which I love to get like a I've been married before, I've been engaged before, I have a child. Like I love those because those are real people. I also want to know the nitty-gritty about why people are breaking up, why people are getting divorced. And every time on reality TV, somebody admits, oh, I've been married before, oh, I have a kid, I had a toxic relationship, I was cheated on. It's always like very vague, and I understand there are some things that they probably want to keep respectful about talking about their past relationships and maybe don't even want to get sued also by their past relationship. But like give me the nitty-gritty. Give me the nitty-gritty. Like why did that marriage end for real? Because it's just like we just understand that she's been married before, but there was no description as to like what the heck happened. Oh, we grew apart. Why? As somebody who is married, Actually, I'm being a hypocrite because I don't even know if I could come on this YouTube channel and be like give you the nitty gritty of what the heck. We all want it. We all want it. Let's be for real. Okay, Benaya. What the heck, dude? I'm so sorry if I mispronounced his name this whole entire time, but I completely forgot. So he's been single since 2012, which is that a red flag in itself? That's a question for the comments. Let me know, please. Is it a red flag to be single for 12 years? I guess at this point it would have been 11, but still, or is it just kind of like, oh, he's just doing his thing. He doesn't want to be tied down. He's whatever, you know? Yeah, that's a guy who I called granola. And then also him talking to, I think it was Nicole, somebody. He said, yeah, so I'm technically homeless, which I understand when you're just like a backpacker or you're somebody who house sits, like, yeah, you don't have an address. But I just feel so much instability in that. And I feel like it's good that he brought it up so that he can let people know before they like get into an engagement. But it's also kind of like 98% of these women are probably not going to be like, oh, you're technically homeless. Oh my god, it's exactly what I'm looking for. Technically homeless. But no, as somebody who's moved around a lot and as somebody who at times didn't have a home address because my parents didn't have a like whatever, it just is a very unstable feeling for me. So I can't imagine like wanting to date somebody that has been in that predicament. And I don't know. Then we have Sabrina and Steven just kind of being cute. We see a lot of their relationship in the first episode, and they're like that solid couple where you're like, this is gonna be no surprise that they're gonna work together. They're compatible. They're hot. They're gonna be fine. So they're basically locked in. I wrote Sabrina and Steven are locked in, right? Because it's like you never know though. Because sometimes things look so good and then they oh, I think I said right, and then directly after that they had the conversation about children. I very much see Sabrina's side because it must be so heavy as a person who is like fine with being child free to date, because a lot of people want children, and to feel like you found the exact right person and then for them just to be like, no, but I just really want kids, and then for you to be like, well, I mean, we could or we couldn't, you know. I very much feel like Sabrina the way that I myself feel like if my husband and I have kids, that's a dream. But if we don't, I still feel as though my life will be incredibly fulfilling and I'm fine with being child free for now. I feel for Sabrina basically. Then we have Sam, who had like a conversation about Instagram. I feel like whenever Instagram is brought up in the pods, it's never like a genuine, valuable, deep conversation with like real topics that are brought up. There's never, it just, like the fact that he brought that up, just kind of like, what the heck? Like, I don't know. I just feel like that really separates like boys from men when you're talking about social media and the way that you're like, well, I like, you know, Jasmine at one point says she wants a certified lover boy. Be careful because he could also be a certified pedophile. So be careful. Certified lover boy. That is kind of crazy to hear at this point, knowing how we feel about Drake in the public, you know? We see Bobby, baby-faced Bobby. Also, I know I look incredibly young as well, although I am 25. I also am like young, but he has like a baby face in the way that like this man probably didn't look that different when he was an actual baby from the time that he does now in the face. He's also a luxury shopping guide. What is that? Somebody please let me know what the heck that is. I ain't never had money before, so I don't, no idea. Why haven't Benaya and Sabrina matched up? Because Benaya and Nicole at this point. Benaya? I am sorry. I can't get over the fact that I might be saying his name wrong, but I am not going to stop this video to look at okay, Benaya. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Benaya and Nicole were talking and they seem to be vibing, but I kind of feel like Benaya and Sabrina more so are on the same spiritual frequency, whereas Nicole says she works a corporate job. I feel as though maybe spiritual practices and his lifestyle are maybe more exciting to her, but not like a realistic thing that they're going to be integrated in. So I just kind of felt like I want to see Benaya and Sabrina's conversation because that was very spiritual. You know what I mean? It was really spiritual. Sabrina had a that man is not your father conversation with her mother. Can you imagine that life changing conversation, dude? I'm adopted and my parents are white. So never had to have that. And I'm not laughing at it, but just the way that the way that that is so crazy. That idea that like, oh, you think that this man is your father your whole entire life, and then all of a sudden, oh no, there's somebody else in the equation. You have to deal with that as well. And like, oh, that is just so I wrote down Catherine is conflicted between Ollie and Freddie. Oh my god, go with Freddie. Ollie is like fine, but he just gives such player. You know what I mean? He just gives such exactly what he said. Like I typically go for physical. You know, it's like anybody who typically says that typically doesn't like have like a huge redemption story, especially on this show. And then I also really like Catherine, so I feel like her and Freddie just looked beautiful put together. You know, they just look so good. So Demi asks a good question, and she asks, I think it was to Ollie. Yeah, she asks Ollie, so how are you gonna deal with me when I'm, you know, like in a mood or I'm snappy or like I'm upset? And he said, I'm just gonna, you know, I'd probably stay with friends for a weekend, which he didn't say it was a joke. He did say it was a joke, but it was like after she, you know, had a response that was like, okay, what? You know, it wasn't, you know, when people when people feel the need to call out a joke, it's like, because I genuinely feel like he's the type of person that would be like, I'm out of here, I'm gonna go. No, be so for real. Like, tell me, like, do you need space? Do you, you know, I don't know. Give a more realistic answer. So then we end off on a cliffhanger of episode 1 with the Steve and Sabrina proposal, which seems as though he's or she's gonna say no. Like the way that it's going, it's like she just keeps giving these things that you're like, she's not into this. Yeah, so then we go into episode 2. So they get engaged. Yay! Oh my god, the super ultra attractive couple, of course. The most attractive couple on this show. The most attractive couple this show has ever seen, I think. Let me know if you agree or no. We get introduced to a bombshell, Maria, a beauty with a soul for real. I'm like, all of these people are just too attractive. You know, like when Love is Blind first came out, we really thought that we were just going to be having a show of like non-reality TV looking people because it was really supposed to test if you could like build off something. But no, these are like attractive people dating other attractive people. So we see that there's a little bit of a love triangle between Tom and Maria, and then Natasha, which I feel like I could have gotten more from. I didn't really find much about Natasha that I was like eager to know about. She was kind of there for me. We see a conversation with Catherine, find out that she's adopted. Clapping because we are in the adoptee gang, the abandoned gang. Sad. One man's trash, am I right? Then we have the Sabrina and Steven reveal. It is so gentle and quiet and actually very beautiful, in my opinion, for them just to be like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. You know? It's not this kind of like over the top thing. And they just, you know, acknowledge each other and are just aware of this crazy situation. And it just is beautiful. Okay, they're a beautiful couple. Can I stop saying that? Then we see that Jasmine calls out Sam for saying what she wants to hear, which is not the first time that comment has been spoken, right? Was it either her that said it or somebody else that said that about Sam? Which like it makes sense. The man definitely is the type of guy that'll like tell you exactly what he wants to hear and then be manipulative about it and be like, well, no, this is just, it's like, is that just you, or are you, or do you just like know how to talk to people in like a weird non-genuine way and being like, I don't know what to do, I'm being myself? No. Okay, I just don't like him. Ollie opens up about having an absent father and then the trauma of the death in his family. I feel bad actually for the amount of things that I say about Ollie because I know that he's genuinely trying, but yeah, but I do have to also commend him for being so incredibly real. There's so many incredibly real people on this cast, at least from what it seems like from their childhood stories, and their trauma that they're being open and honest about talking about with us, with the viewers. Kind of makes you realize no one really has a traditional childhood in the way that you grew up with a nuclear family and you have like typical childhood experiences and you grow up to I feel like it's such a small amount of people that actually have that legitimate childhood. I feel like even though this is reality TV and these are like reality TV stars and they know how to talk, I just kind of feel like the more I get old, the older I get, kind of feel like who's normal, who actually grew up, whatever. Then we have Catherine breaking it off with Ollie, which is like, thank God, like he was not for you, girl. I feel as though you maybe dodged a little bit of a a little bit of a bullet. Although I am nervous for Demi meeting Ollie because he told us he was superficial. And I just really am looking at y'all being like, protect her. Seriously, protect her. When we see that Bobby gets engaged to Jasmine. Yay! I do actually love that for them. I think that Jasmine and Bobby are like a very interesting couple. Very sexy. Yeah, very sexy little couple. But I was kind of doubting if Jasmine would be attracted to Bobby because Bobby is very much baby in the face. And I kind of feel like sexy girls don't really go for baby face guys most of the time, right? Right? Blah, let me know, disagree or agree. Then we have Sam and Nicole, which feels like a forced connection. Oh my god. Like, and you know what? I'm nervous about saying this because as somebody in an interracial relationship and who just notices conversations or I guess discourse on interracial relationships, a lot of people don't think that interracial couples like look compatible, feel compatible, and I feel like it's just because it's like, yeah, because you're not used to seeing interracial relationships. But in this instance, Sam and Nicole are not meant to be together. I don't think that Sam would be attracted to Nicole. I don't think that I think that Nicole's kind of falling for it because she's just like wanting somebody to tell her exactly what she wants to hear. And she's not really using her like discernment, because she's so like, that's the problem with this. That is the problem with this, is that like, unless you have like great, just like critical, just like, I don't know how to describe it, but I feel as though the problem with this is just that like you end up with people like this, and then it's like, well, she doesn't realize that he's such a red flag because they're probably not having like in-depth conversations where conflict naturally will come out, and she doesn't realize like, oh, he's actually okay. We go into episode 3. I really didn't write too much about episode 4 the way I did about episode 1, and episode 3 so short. I don't have much about this because I feel like a lot of things happen like in the little nitty-gritty details. So say Benaya or Benaya, I think it's Benaya, tells Nicole that Sam is just effing around, and he's here for fame, which I feel as though is needed because Sam would not have liked Nicole, and Nicole is falling for the charm, as I just explained. That whole dynamic to me is exactly what Netflix is actually thirsting after, for real. They're dying for people to just be on here and be, like tools. There's always got to be one. And I definitely believe it from Benaya. I can't. Okay. Jasmine and Ollie have a reveal. Both are enthusiastic, and it's like one of those reveals where you're like, are you? Overall, like, it went really well, but sometimes when they go in for like a hug, you're like, is that supposed to be a kiss and the other person is not like responding to it? That's kind of how I felt. But I don't feel like they ever really overtly, come out the bat saying they're not my type, I'm not attracted to them. But eventually does come out, but they always enthusiastically greet each other at the meet and the what's it called? The reveal. I was gonna say the meet and greet. Catherine and Freddie got engaged. You can't get more attractive than Freddie. You can't. I need to stop with my little obsession with him. So then we have Benaya is going to propose. I don't think that he should have proposed. I don't think that they need to even necessarily be together because I feel as though Nicole just kind of wants somebody to be there for her and to, go through this process with, but it's like, is that really what you need for your life? Really? Then we get kind of this like cliffhanger of a scene where you don't know if she's going to talk to Benaya or Sam. And then we're disappointed to find out that she chooses Sam to have a conversation with, and he proposes, and you're like, and even in the proposal, I just felt like even before the proposal, prior to what I'm going to say about in the proposal, I feel like he was just looking at other people get engaged and being like, oh wow, that would be nice, and then is now kind of like wanting to get engaged for the sake of it. And then while he was getting engaged, saying and then begging for her to like love him, was he like said, "No one's ever loved me before." And I understand that's a very vulnerable thing to say, and I've been looking for vulnerability out of him, but it's also kind of like a red flag during a proposal. I don't want my husband to be like, "No one's ever loved me before. Please let me prove this to you." I want the person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, who I'm going to be dedicated to loving, to know what love is, to know how to love me, to know all of these things that I don't want to have to teach, all these things that I don't want to have to go through in an engagement. To me, it just kind of felt like he was just saying that to reel her in to do it. Because I feel as though he wants to be engaged. I feel that. But I just felt like he was just saying anything to just let it happen. But and then also she didn't like mention anything about the red flag that Benaya Benaya. I'm just gonna call him Ben. He didn't mention anything that Ben brought up to her, which is a red flag in itself. Like, why are you not being like, hey, this guy came to me with this information. What the heck could that be about? Let me know. You know? Because she did kind of, but not really. Like, even you need to really get into the nitty gritty. So then I written down, oh, Catherine and Freddie are so stunned at the reveal that they can't even speak when they see each other. It's so beautiful. Because it what? Like, they're just they're a beautiful little couple. And I emphasize on Freddie because I feel like Catherine, she has a beautiful soul to me. She has a beautiful aura, even though I like, do you have to be in person to feel somebody's aura? On screen, I just feel as though she just comes off like very beautiful, but she's also kind of a more average looking person. And that is not a drag at all. It's just that's just the way she reads in my head. But Freddie to me is just kind of like, she, you are fine. Episode 4. So we have Tom and Natasha don't work out. We know to look out for them at the pool party, though. When I love when couples don't work out because you're like, oh, shoot, we're going to get them at the pool party. Or if it's not the pool party for the UK, then it's going to be like, oh, they're going to all have a meetup of some sorts. In the US version, it's typically a pool party. It could be like just a meetup at like a bar. It could be a meetup at whatever, where the whole entire cast gets together. And then people see like, oh, shoot, we almost got engaged. And then, yeah, so I also completely like forgot that Tom and Natasha and then Tom and Maria were a thing because they got introduced in the second episode, and that to me just kind of like, okay, first episode couples and then toxic couples, like scary couples, are the ones that stand out to me the most. Sam and Nicole reveal. Oh shoot! I legitimately was so uncomfortable for this. I truly don't know what to say about this. I truly don't know. Mainly because of my fear of me being like, well, is it just because they're like an interracial couple that like doesn't seem like they would match? Or is it because of my disdain for him and the fact that I'm assuming he wouldn't be attracted to her? But no, it just was weird. He also like said, I'm just a boy who wants to love a girl. I don't know. That just it all reads is not real to me. So then as I've written down, both are struggling with the realization that they just saw each other. I don't know. I just don't know what to say other than the fact that we're all uncomfortable, I think. Are we not all a little bit uncomfortable? Are there some people that are rooting for Sam and Nicole? Let me know. Probably not gonna like this video. Then we have Ollie and Demi are engaged. I love Demi. Oh my god. She's fine, she's bad. Ollie to me, I keep an eye on him. And then I said I definitely missed the Tom and Maria engagement because I find them a little bit boring. So then we have the Tom and Maria reveal, and that was the first time that I found them a little bit more entertaining. Because there was like the whole she kissed him, she got lipstick on him, and like that to me kind of felt real of like the whole idea of like I don't even care, like I'm just gonna get these words out because I need to tell you these things, and that just was like a kind of a beautiful scene, not in the way that I found it to be beautiful to look at. Like it kind of makes me a little bit gross when I see like men just have like smeared lipstick on their face. A lot of me was like, ew, just clean it up. But a lot of me was like, oh my god, he doesn't even care. Wow, he doesn't even care. That's great. So yeah, it feels like they feel like a real couple that's gonna work out. And they're so attracted to each other. They are so attracted to each other, which we love to see. I don't know if anybody watches Married at First Sight Australia, but he looks like a guy there. I don't know his name, but if you watch Married at First Sight Australia, you know who I'm talking about, even though I don't. I noted that this episode is called We Had Sex. sex twice. I can say sex, it's not a swear word. We had sex twice. And I wrote down, we better see some footage outside the pods, but I doubt it because at this point I hadn't left the pods. I wrote down that I love Demi because she was getting all nervous to see Ollie, because she is thicker. Is that what you guys would call a bunda? So embarrassing asking questions about another culture and being like, is that what you guys would call a bunda? Like, but is it? But then also, is bunda just a butt? I wrote down, if Ollie doesn't like her because she's thick, I'm gonna be upset because she's incredibly beautiful. And then I wrote down that we got 6 couples. So well, me getting ahead of myself. No, Ollie likes what he sees, but it's like you never know from the reveal because they sometimes, like with the whole Shake and Deepti thing, to me is just like, okay, you can't trust anything off based off first impression, because Shake literally was grabbing Deepti's butt and being like, oh my god, you're so sexy, you're so attractive, and then later to be like, she's just like my aunt, like, you know. It's like I just don't trust, you know. I don't know until they enter the real world about that actual physical attraction. Now we got 6 couples, yes sir. And then we got a snippet of their real life because we see them in their little honeymoon spot. That's kind of what it is in Greece. That looks like the most beautiful. I want to go. I want to go. Please donate to my buy me a coffee if you would like to support me and my husband going on a honeymoon. Please don't feel manipulated by me. Please don't. We got 6 couples. Everyone is extremely attracted to their partners except for Sam and Nicole. We see that Sam and Nicole are not are not going to Greece, and Nicole is the one who's speaking on this. We knew this was gonna happen, right? Like we all knew this was gonna happen. It just is interesting that Nicole's being the only one being like, I just feel as though I need to see Ben. You know? I feel like we're not really getting anything crazy. We're not getting like, oh, he's just a weirdo. Oh, he's superficial. Oh, he told me something that made me gross. You know? I want to know that, but we're gonna find out eventually. I feel as though we're gonna see some sort of a something, and I feel like Sam's gonna get out of it and be like, oh, Nicole wanted Ben anyway. You know? It's like you weren't attracted to her, but you're like, you know. Anyway, then we see Nicole's pulling a Zach with the Zach and Bliss thing, except it's Nicole and Ben. And then into the previews we go. So we see that Ollie might be having a little bit of a tough time. We see that there's a little bit of some conflict coming up. We see a little bit of people opening up about their attraction to their not partners, which we love to see. And I hate when they do that thing where it's like the thing where the screen looks different. The screen looks like a preview for like a movie. I hate that formatting. It just, I don't know. It just feels like, I don't know. It just makes me weird. Anyway, I'm gonna enjoy the season though. I like the season so far. I like the hosts. Sheesh, bring the hosts around. They're good to look at. And let me know what you feel about everybody so far. I'm very excited to see Freddie and Catherine, but then also Sabrina and Steven. I love them. Anyway, let me know how you feel about this season. Let me know if you agreed with any of the takes that I had. I am excited to watch new episodes that are coming August 14th, and I will get those up when they come out. Take a look at my bio, see how you can support me in the description. Thank you.